All right, everyone. Today's masterclass or mini masterclass is about how to defend the double under. We've seen time and time again that you can actually attack from the stack position of a double under. And that's really what I wanted to focus on today, focusing on 5 different attack scenarios. I have seen this happen even at the highest level, particularly, namely, Darson Hemmings, North American ADCC Trials winner, Nogi World Champion. I have seen him hit personally probably 20 of these. So check it out. When the person has the double underpass, my early goals, split my legs as wide as possible, bring my heels to the hip to create a separation, and, splitting the hands, there's a couple ways to do that, right? But I also want to focus on having my knees not close to my shoulders. So watch what I do. I reinforce my legs, and as I extend one leg out, I keep this guy wide. That's a very easy and early response, okay? If he's a little later where he's heavier on me, then it's gonna look more like me pressing my legs out, both at the same time. Heels plant on the hips, that's very helpful. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take one hand and I'm gonna punch 4 fingers inside the collar. If I have a tendency to float upwards with my forearm and my wrist, as I throw the choke, I'm gonna get stuck on the jawline. So what I wanna do is as I secure the tricep, look what I do. I bend my wrist and I keep it connected to the base of his neck. So if I'm most flush to his chest, even if I bite his head and chin down, it's not gonna displace my arm. If I'm a little bit loose as I bite down, sometimes I get stuck on the outside. You guys understand? The choke doesn't happen with the edge of my forearm, it happens with the face of my watch. So I grab, I press it into the neck, but closer to the base of the neck rather than the jawline. Okay, now look, my hamstring pushes him away, I angle, and I bite down to squeeze him on top of the hand. When I triangle, I always triangle as deep as possible. So I squeeze my thighs, I flex my wrist, it's such an easy choke. Yeah, I bring my heels and I pummel them into the front of his hips. So that way when he moves forward, I have that frame. Hand goes deep in the cross collar, and make sure I'm not floating. I wanna be flush to his chest. So that way I never slip above the jawline. Second hand, I like to secure the tricep. It controls his arm and his balance. I'm gonna extend my hamstring to kind of cast him up, and as I angle, I enter this triangle. The triangle seals his neck on top of my wrist, and once I triangle, I just squeeze together. It's more about the thighs compressing together, like the pages of a book closing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, let's go. Here. Once I break, for whatever reason, you may not feel that you want the cross collar grip. The cross collar grip is easier to catch, a little harder to finish. I still think it's very strong. If you do same side grip, which is nice because it telegraphs a little bit less, it's a much nastier choke, but it's a little harder to catch. So that's the trade-off. You want something with more firepower or something that's a little bit easier to catch. The other hand, just like before, I'm gonna secure the tricep. If my hand is on this side, well, this time this hamstring has to chop across into the neck. So I'm not just thinking of connecting. I'm thinking of extending, raising, and slipping under. You see the difference? My hamstring has to prop his head up so the choke can insert. So watch what I do. I use one heel to plant, just like before. As I extend him up and away, you see how I create this stretching motion? This is the key. I close my elbow. Not just a little, all the way down, and I flex my wrist now the other way. Because I need to get as low and as deep as possible. As I drive and I angle, right into the choke. Evan, I'm sure you can feel this one comes on a lot faster. Yeah. Okay? So this one's quite nasty. It's more like a darce, I would say, where the forearm cuts kind of nastily into the neck rather than the face of the watch. So again, I peel the hands, I'm trying to fight the hands, my heels park on the hip. Once I get my thumb inside, I'm looking for that deep tricep grip. I wanna always keep his elbows flared open. It's gonna give me quite a bit of control. Here, I don't squeeze down because I don't wanna telegraph. So what I do is I just kind of lift. As I extend up and away, look how I start to angle, and I close my elbow, I flex my wrist, boom, triangle. Okay, now, little tip, I don't wanna go on the trach. So how do I avoid that? By going a little higher in the collar. So that's, the lifting helps create some slack for you to play. See how that one's like a little bit cleaner? Sorry, that's very uncomfortable and unpleasant. Everyone understand? So this time, instead of 4 fingers on the cross, it's gonna be thumb on the same. And therefore, my other leg will have to chop across the neck. Everyone got it? All right, 1, 2, 3, let's give it a go. Again, the more stacked I am, the harder it is for me to fight. My hips come higher off the ground. So if he's really heavy on me, when I press my legs out and be heavy on me, Evan, I'll end up moving my shoulders away. If it's a little earlier in terms of the response, I'll end up moving him away. Doesn't matter to me. Generally, the rule I follow is I move my partner, and until I move, like my partner stops moving, then I immediately move myself. So it's like they're moving, and as soon as they stop, my focus becomes to move myself. That's not just here, that's everywhere. So with this variation, thumb in the collar, I'm seeing a lot of people, they're biting over, and they're having a hard time getting their forearm under, okay? So there's 3 reasons. Number 1, you didn't elevate and create the slack like I had advised you to. Number 2, your thumb is too deep. And most importantly, number 3, you're not using your hamstring to push him away. So if his back had a pole sitting on it, it's like where that pole would be pointing, I want to push him away. You guys see that? That's the space. But if I keep my wrists straight, I actually, I'm very limited to how much I can tuck under. If I bend my wrist, I can actually get quite deep under. Do you guys see the difference? So look how I bend my wrist and I push my palm into the base of his neck. And as I angle, look how my arm slips underneath his jaw. Okay, so if you're landing here, well, you didn't really do it. Okay, he's gonna defend that, or he's gonna eat the choke on his jawline. So look what I do. I bend my wrist and I angle, and then it's easy to finish here. Now let's look at one more. Another response I could have, maybe I don't feel comfortable setting up any of the grips. I just feel that it's too slow. So I'm gonna use the base of my palm here, this bottom third of my palm, and I'm basically just gonna cup. Okay, it's I'm almost taking hey man, you're kind of feverish. Okay, so look here, I'm gonna cup the back of the neck, and I'm gonna rest the base of my palm right there, and that same muscle as before. Well, if my hand's blocking on this side, my leg's gonna bite off the other side. I'm gonna triangle, and again, I'm not squeezing like a typical triangle, where I would flex my hamstring a lot. I'm more so closing the book. That's it. If you have shorter legs, you don't need this at all. Okay, I'm not super freakishly tall. I wish I was, but there's a lot of space here. See, this is look, my whole arm fits through, no problem. Maybe I could finish the choke, but it becomes a little bit painful back of the neck. We want to avoid that. So what we do is we put some padding in. So here, I'm gonna bite, I'm gonna squeeze my thighs, boom, very easy. I'm removing that space. I know that when I lock my triangle, there's gonna be space, so I just put another object in there, and the compression is perfect. Everyone understand? Shorter people, stockier people, you don't need your hand in it. Okay, so everyone play with and without. It's not that I want you, well, yeah, you should know everything. By the time you're a black belt, I expect you to know a billion moves. I really do. No, I'm not even joking. You should. Over 10 years, you should learn a lot. But you need to be exposed to all the options to see what sticks for you. What sticks for one person is gonna be different from what another person gravitates towards, right? Now look, I'm gonna split, I'm gonna crunch, and as I sit up, I punch my arm in. I'm gonna make my gable, create a frame, and look what I do. I pull his armpit towards me, I kick my leg down his arm, and I flare my elbow. Look at my elbow, I flare. Okay, if you want to do the reverse arm lock, normally you angle, but here you can actually just finish. So look, I squeeze my thighs together, my elbow rolls up to the ceiling, double tricep grip. As I stretch him away, I'm gonna crunch it.
I hope that you guys enjoyed that. If you like how I teach, check out my course on BJJ Fanatics. It's 50% off right now. I cover all kinds of half guard positions, quarter guard positions, and it's versatile. You can use it gi and no gi. Most recently, one of the Merman sweeps was hit in the UFC. If you're still not convinced, go check out the free trailer. They have free clips on the BJJ Fanatics website, and also check out the reviews. You can see black belts all over the world have purchased the course and left positive reviews.